Hello, my little yarnivores, Fiber Spider back again, and today I'm going to show you this fabulous technique that I recently discovered called color pooling. It's a way of using a variegated yarn and the way that it changes colors to your advantage. As you can see, it creates a beautiful sort of argyle, if you will. You know, the way that the color changes of its own accord, use it to your advantage. That's what this is about. All right, so now in that piece, I was very deliberate. Now you can, however, go about it in a more organic approach, if you will. Now with this piece, I was still using the colors in mind, but I was not too stringent with how it ended, and I think it's much more fun, as you can see. Let me just get some of this out of the way here. All right. So you can see it's not a perfect argyle by any stretch of the imagination, but it's still quite beautiful in its patterning. And this other piece that I've been working on, I absolutely love the way that even though it is not perfect, well, life never is, even though it is not perfect, it still works. It still creates a pattern. And I'm going to show you today how you can do it yourself. All right, so we shall get started. All right, so now what you need to do is you need to make a chain as long as the colorway. So I've got, I'll show you, just give me one moment, this beautiful pink, brown, and cream colored yarn. It's sort of a Neapolitan of sorts. It's by Loops and Threads. It's called Impeccable. Got the big skein for this one. And so what you do is you do your slip knot and you keep chaining, so you go through the brown. Now this I'm using as a place marker. You'll see why. Okay, so you've got your brown, and you have your off-white, and you have your pink, and then it goes into white, and then it's going to go back into brown. So this is one full sequence, as you can see. All right. So what you need to do is, once you've completed a chain of one full sequence, what you need to do then is do the moss stitch. Now when you're picking your yarn, keep in mind that the lengths of the colors need to be at least 6 inches long. If it's too short, it's ultimately going to look splodgy and spotty, and the lengths of color, it won't make sense. Now, if that's what you're going for, by all means, go right ahead. Have fun with it. That's what crocheting is about, learning something new and having some fun while doing it. So what we're going to do now is we have our chain, all right? And then into the 4th chain from the hook, you do a single crochet. By the way, this is the moss stitch that we are doing. So you do a single crochet, chain 1, then you skip a chain, and then you do a single crochet and a chain 1, skip a chain, do a single crochet and chain 1, skip a chain, single crochet, chain 1, and you're going to keep going in this manner until the colors that you're stitching are going to complete another sequence of colors. Now, you're not going to get to the very end of this chain. That's why I left that marker, okay? You're not going to reach it because chaining takes up less yarn than doing these stitches. So it's going to work out in such a way that you're going to have a little bit of excess chain. Now I fiddled with this prior to the video so as not to bore you to death. So we're going to go through, and I'm going to stop the video here, and I'll meet back up with you when I'm done with where I need to be. One moment. All right, so I reached my marker. Now, like I said, this is to remind me of where I was for my initial sample. So I chained one, doing that single crochet. Now, I'm going to pop that out. Okay, no longer necessary. See, as you can see now, the initial chain that I did, it started at the brown, did the white, pink, ended on the white, okay? Then, again, it starts with the brown, white, pink, white. Now, what I could conceivably do is some more stitches with the white before it becomes brown, but it needs to be offset. All right? That being said, it creates, let me show you with this one, it'll be a bit easier. Pardon me. It offsets. See, the thing is, every round that you go, you need to have your stitches off just a little bit. That creates the diamonds. Otherwise, it'll just have your colors going straight up. Now, if you want stripes, well, more power to you. But if you want to create the specific design, well, you gotta fudge a little. So, when you did your single crochet, chain one, single crochet, skipping that middle chain there, you then, at the end of the row, you chain two, and then you turn your work, and then you do a single crochet into this space here, chain one, do a single crochet into this space yet again, and basically you are doing this over and over. Chain one, single crochet into that chain space, and it is the same stitch over and over and over and over. But now what you need to keep in mind is that with this particular technique, it is not about your hook size, it's not about keeping a consistent tension. No, actually, it's about following the yarn, the pattern of the color, hence color pooling. Now I'm going to go across here and work my way. Now you're not going to see an immediate pattern because it's every other row that creates the pattern. And I have seen on various videos where they say, oh yeah, it takes about, 10 some odd rows to really see the pop of the pattern. All right, fine, be that as it may. I have patience. I can rip out work, which I did, so that I knew where to put that little bit of scrap yarn. But you people are worth it. I do not mind. All right, see, I've reached the end of the row. See, now it doesn't look like terribly much. No, I see that, but it shall. Haha. All right, so at the end of the row, you chain two, turn your work, and again, going into that space there with your single crochet, chain one, go into the chain space, and I think we should do a bit of a fast forward, don't you? I think so. One moment, please. All right, now, been going for a bit, and as you can see, with the brown especially, it does sort of a staircase, on this side too a little bit. Now, to make it more distinct, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you what I have learned from a little bit of experience. Now, we want this brown bit to be over here instead. So what you can do, backtrack a bit and change your tension. What I like to do is, now I know this is going to sound absolutely horrific, but change my tension. I'm going to make it a bit extra loose. Make nice big loose stitches. And that will eat up more of my yarn, thereby putting the stitch more of where it needs to be. See, that was a solid brown, now it's a brown and white, as you can see. That way, you're actually forcing the color to do what you want it to do. See, it's got the angle here, and now it's got more of the angle on this side too. I'm going to keep on going and I'll show you what I mean. All right, so as you can see, by changing the tension, I created a more deliberate angle. And the pink is starting to follow suit. I mean, you can see the triangle. I'm not delusional, right? So it's a matter of changing your tension as you go. Now, you could, instead of stitching loose or stitching tight, you could, of course, change your hook size. However, that would be even more fiddly. You know, to be quite honest, it's fiddly enough to have to let the colors of the yarn dictate what you're so used to doing as far as your stitching. However, sometimes, you know, pain is beauty, and this is beautiful. You know, even though I've only just started, I can tell that it is going to be a stunner. See, again, by going nice and loosely, that's where my last brown stitch is. It's creating its own angle. And then eventually, you know, it's going to keep on going to the side, and then it's going to go back in the opposite angle. So I'm going to keep on stitching for a bit, and you know, I'll show you what I come up with. Alrighty. Okay, so as you can see, I've done a bit more, and as I promised, you know, yes, the brown, it went up in an angle, and then it went back, you know, because I keep working on keeping consistent with the way that the colors are flowing. Now, you know, for instance, say, you know, I'm, you know, going along this way, and, you know, actually, I'm just going to show you. By the way, I'm using a size K crochet hook, and this is a, you know, typical 4-ply worsted weight yarn, in case if anybody's wondering. But again, it's not about your personal gauge, it's about following the color. All right, so, you know, going into the stitch. Now, the thing is that if, for instance, I mean, I got my tension pretty much down, but say, for instance, that my, you know, the pink, instead of going beyond this pink stitch, you know, that it went, you know, instead of it going, you know, into here, say I ran out of pink, you know, figuratively speaking, and, you know, I only had till about, like, you know, this stitch here. Well, there is what you could do is you could tighten up your stitches, tighten up your yarn so that you're using less yarn so that you can stretch out the pink just a little bit further. Or conversely, which is what I have been doing, which is to loosen up your stitches so that the color will be used up and the color will slant backwards. I always like to go looser than tighter because that way you don't end up with this really tight, stiff piece. So listen, I hope that you give this a try because the results, I mean, I've only been working on this for a short while and it's beautiful already. You know, I'm loving this. The technique is so much fun, and I really encourage you to give it a try. And I hope that you had fun and you learned something new. So, you know, as always, you know, knowledge is power, but sharing is caring. So, you know, share the video, share the knowledge, make up a scarf, and share it with somebody you love. And until the next video, please like, please subscribe. Your comments would be more than welcome. Any questions, input, what have you, would love to hear from you. And until next time, in the next video, keep stitching, keep caffeinated, and above all, have fun. You have a great day now. Bye. All right, so one last word is, I almost forgot, that what you need to do is, with this chain, once you're, done with your piece, you could even do it beforehand like I am doing now. With this chain, you're going to actually take out these stitches. Now, again, this can be a little fiddly. You're going to have to undo this initial knot and everything. And you want to be careful because obviously, well, I mean, hell, this knot is nothing really to freak out about. But when you're undoing your stitches, obviously you don't want to undo your work that you so painstakingly worked on, granted. But the initial chain, how it was initially too long and we didn't use all of it, well, it's not really that detrimental because you can, well, if I can get this, there we go. You can take out these stitches. You have to do them individually. It doesn't just rip out like you were ordinarily pulling out chain stitches because, well, we're doing it backwards now. So you go and you pull out each one individually, and got a bunch more to do. And then what you do is you sew in your end into your work. And I can't believe I almost forgot this. It's kind of an important part. I'm going to have to edit this in. And I just wanted to be very thorough for you because I really do care and I do not want to leave any loose ends. Okay, that was bad. All right. Anyway, as always, thank you for watching and I hope that this helps. Alrighty. Bye now.